Hello, good evening. How are you? I am LaWanda Benefield of LaWanda Benefield LLC. I am a CPA MBA with over 20 years of experience. And tonight, I want to give tax strategy to all those who receive 1099s every year and then get upset because they're paying more in taxes. This would apply to those Uber drivers, to Instacart, employees. This would apply to those who may be paying booth rent as barbers or as salon hairstylists. This all goes to all of you. If you are not W-2 employees, guess what? You have power in your hands. So this short video is to help you understand that power and wield it very well. You're entrepreneurs. That's what you are. And I want you to actually act like it. Every year, I see people get upset when they come in and don't realize that they are, not W-2 employees. And that means there's things they need to do, like pay taxes, like 15% of taxes they have to pay back as self-employed that they hadn't paid on that money. I don't care how much money you receive. So specifically to the drivers right now, Instacart, what I'd like you to do, there's apps you can do, Mile IQ, you can do Hurdle that will keep track of your mileage. You can tie your credit card to it, and anything you deal with in terms of your expenses related to your car, that's fuel, that's mileage, repairs. Those things can be deducted from your tax return because guess what? It's directly related to your job. So that you have to have something to offset that income. So I want you to think about that. Also, you should be making estimated tax payments on the income that you make. So every 3 months, you should be paying something. That will help your tax liability. Those who are getting big dollars in, that really makes a difference. Another thing, some of your meals will be deductible, training. But what I'd really like you to do is become a company, an LLC. If you're a sole proprietor, you're fully reliable and everything, and there's some expenses you can't pay for. If you're an LLC, that's actually a great opportunity. You don't have to file taxes every year on that if you incorporate with that, but it allows you to write off some more deductions, but still all of that profit is coming to you. And it's very important that you keep track of all your expenses. And when you really start to make a good amount of money, then we could talk about other tax structures that you can take into consideration with your corporation. But right now, I want you to think of yourself as a company, and you need to keep track of all of your expenses that you're doing that's for your company. If you come in my office, we can talk about that, or virtually, we can speak about it. We can have a consultation on my website, lbllc.net. Another thing I want hairstylists and barbers to think about, you also are a business. If you're paying booth rent, you're not actually getting a W-2. You should be getting a 1099. That means when you're buying clippers, and you're buying oil, you're buying all these supplies, that stuff can add to your balance sheet because that's stuff you're using throughout the year. You can either expense it, or if you keep using it, you can actually capitalize on it, meaning you're depreciating it. Now, those are small items. You probably would want to expense it because those aren't big items, but when you start getting into razors and things that cost more money, when you're buying actually equipment, you want to depreciate those things. And also, this is going to help you in terms of financial statements when you want to go for a house and you have to show your income. You're going to have to show what is the business making. They want to see your profit and loss statement, but also you could have a balance sheet, which is going to show your assets. It's going to show the supplies you have for your company. It's going to show the equity. That's two basic financial statements that a lot of banks are going to want to see. And a bank reconciliation, of course. I hope that all of you have a separate bank account for your business because that's important. You don't want to mix your personal with the business. That has to be separate. But again, if you're in the beginning of these throws and you're not thinking about it, then I'd love for you to start thinking about not just the income you can make in doing these side hustles, but how you can have expenses directly tied to that income to offset it so it will benefit you come time for when you're filing your taxes. So just really quick, I just wanted to mention, make sure, since we're getting ready to go into a new year, that you download an app that keeps track of all of your mileage whenever you're going to a client, whenever you're doing any business trips for your business, if you're doing any business travel related to training, conferences, whatever you're doing, your cell phone, if you're using that for your business, There's a lot of expenses you can write off that are legitimate that go against the cost of that business, but it has to be directly tied to it. And I really want you to keep this in mind, because year after year, I see people not taking advantage of it and they end up owing money because they don't have anything to write off. They didn't keep track of how much they spent. And this is a great time, especially for those who have products. Like if, like hair salonists, if you have hair left over, if you got shampoos, conditioners, all these things you have and you haven't touched it, that's your inventory. Guess what? That goes on your balance sheet. You don't expense that. You actually, you're going to be using that throughout a year. So there's a lot of things you can do, but you have to make sure you understand what power you do have, and just that you do have a business. So you should treat this as a business, not as a hobby, not as a hustle. Make this work for you, and then you can grow your business. See where you're spending too much money, see where you're not spending enough money, and make better decisions for how you can operate. And we could talk further. You could contact me. Like I mentioned earlier, my website is lbllc.net. I am on YouTube as LaWanda underscore your CPA. I'm on LinkedIn, LaWanda Benefield LLC. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, LaWanda Benefield LLC. It's been good chatting with you. Just want to give you a few things to think about, because we're going to start a new year. And I hope that maybe I could trigger a few things to make you think about it a little bit further as to how you can use your business to save you money and taxes going forward. Have a great evening.